Hi, Mark here from the Tangent-Bound Podcast Network and host of the flagship show, the Tangent-Bound Podcast. Did you know that we over at Tangent-Bound are always looking for amazing podcasts to promote? And did you also know that we are also proud nerds and geeks of everything from movies, music, gaming, TV shows, and comic books to wrestling, MMA, soccer, and football? Whatever you can nerd or geek out about, we've got it. And if you're interested, we can help you find it. And if you're a show looking for a place to call home, we've got you covered. Side effects may include upset stomach, dizziness, tumors, shakes, and in some rare cases, death from excessive laughter. Though to be fair, it's only sometimes. Other side effects may include diarrhea, gallstones, heart palpitations, and strong desire for cookies on the dark side. Talk to your doctor and visit TangentBoundNetwork.com and see if Tangent-Bound Network is right for you.
This is a Danger Entertainment podcast. DangerEntertainment.net. Danger Entertainment Podcast Network.
Welcome to the podcast from Temperance Town, the sexiest podcast of world renowned. Tony grows a beard to hide his chin, swabs it with Earl so it glistens.
Salty, salty language, kings of the sexy frontier.
Download the pod, you won't get enough of these dapper chaps talking deadly fluff. In Hobo Gulch they run a homeless mission, clanging and banging with the pentagram of kittens.
Salty, salty language, kings of the sexy frontier.
They enjoy their whiskey and local craft beer. By Odin's unkempt pubis we give a cheer. Tony's a raccoon when he's booziest. Don't be a savage, be an enthusiast.
Salty, salty language, kings of the sexy frontier.
On the frozen tundra they call it a lock. Tony likes to masturbate in a sock. Brian pisses rocks cause it feels so great. I still don't know who the fuck is Tate.
Salty, salty language, kings of the sexy frontier.
The boys will let you know when there's a spurter. Due to male pattern baldness, they don't wear curlers. Stay salty, people, that's their closing line. And don't forget, have a beer, you'll be fine.
Salty, salty language, kings of the sexy frontier. Salty, salty language, kings of the sexy frontier. Salty language.
Hey enthusiasts, what's happening? This is Salty Language, episode 381.
The most wanted podcast on the network.
For those of you who are, familiar with the show, I'm not joined by Tony tonight. Heno stepping in and filling his shoes.
With competent board work.
Tee.
He's still not listening.
I don't know. He might. Probably not.
That's why I figure I'm going to keep throwing a little Fury Road just in case, you know.
Right.
Maybe at some point he will.
Yeah. I like the siren there though. That's a good touch.
Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to figure out, okay, what can I do? What can I do for this episode that's new and different? Because, I always got the sexiest podcast on the network. But it's kind of done. I've already done it twice.
Right. Yeah, you got to keep things fresh. I hear you. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's actually funny. I've been trying to think of stuff because Michael from Danger Entertainment reached out and told, about the, like some new rules for the network, which are cool. I dig them.
Gone.
Yeah. You know, and I was like, man, we actually have to do a new promo. Like, seriously, Tate was on our show when we did our last promo. It's probably been 150-ish, maybe more episodes. Actually, no, more than that.
It's more than that. It's over 200.
Yeah, it's over 200 episodes ago that we did that.
No, I liked it. I was like, okay, this is going to feel a little bit more, cross promotional, bringing in more people and all that stuff. And I found out that Pittsburgh Nerd Podcast is going to be on now, and
cool.
So it's going to be really cool. But yeah, I was like, ooh, that means I have to do some work.
Yeah.
Jeez.
When I first read that,
skating by for a while.
I know, right? It's been pretty simple. Just, throw a little sound clip and say Danger Entertainment, we're out the door, but
yeah. I don't do any work.
Yeah. Well, I never did anyway. Tony did all.
The truth comes out.
Yeah. No, it's not true, because I put the bumper at the beginning of the show.
Yes.
At least there's
that's true.
Yeah. Oh, man. So yeah, it was, I dug it though. I like, his ideas. Like I said, it was just so funny because I was like, wow, we actually have to do a promo now. Because we've had people ask different times and I'm always like, we have one. But yeah, so.
What's great is the promo I have for Gotham Lights, we didn't even do.
Really?
Yeah, like I know we have one somewhere, but realistically, at the end of every Gotham Lights episode, we close it with something Bill from the Wicked Theory podcast did, and it's like this amazing promo. Okay. So I'm just going to send that to Michael and be like, here.
I hope Michael's not listening to this. He's going to know you
half-assed
have to do any
work.
Yeah,
it's already there.
Right?
It's all right. Yeah. Well, it's so well done. I mean, it's if you ever want to hear it, it's worth bypassing the entire Gotham.
Yeah, just scrub right to the end of the show.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
He makes the sound really like it's worth, like you should be listening.
Yeah. Well,
of course, it's at the end though, unfortunately, so that like most people don't even get there.
Right.
They quit early. They're like, why am I listening to this crap?
Yeah.
I don't like this show.
Right.
And then at the end, though, if they'd have just held on, they would have had this great, sales pitch about why the Gotham Lights podcast is so great.
Yeah, yeah. But
I think I'm doing it wrong.
Probably. What you should do is put it in the show like 4 times, like take multiple breaks and everyone.
Now that's shameless plug.
No, you know what that is? That's doing advertising like Hulu does.
Yeah.
Like 10 minutes a show or 7 minutes a show, whatever it is. And then it's like, here's a Hulu commercial and here's a couple others. And now back to your show. And yeah.
That 20,000 Hertz podcast that I've been recommending to people. Yeah. They did, what did they do this last week? That was really good. Oh, Xbox, the sound of Xbox.
Oh,
the intro,
okay. Mm-hmm.
Everything is really kind of neat how they came up with it and everything. But that's a show that has, breaks, advertising breaks in it. And then they do a PBS kind of support the show thing. And that just rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah.
Like, already hearing advertising and now you want us to support the show too.
Yeah. I like it.
Like,
Get that paper, son.
That mad cash.
Yep. You know it. Yeah, it's interesting how, like, a few of the wrestling podcasts I listen to have recently switched from Podcast One to Westwood One. And Westwood One is so much better. Because on Podcast One, there's so many ads. Like, just so many. Before the show starts, and then there's ads throughout the show. It was ridiculous. And it's like, look, I get it. You're delivering me a fun, entertaining podcast for free. I appreciate that. I understand you have bills to pay. I get that. But at the same time, it's like, I don't want, like, if I look and I see the show's an hour long, 20 minutes of that should not be advertisements, like the way I feel about it. Don't get me wrong. I just scrub through them, which is, super easy or whatever, but it's still, I know Kevin Smith used to talk about this a lot because people would complain because he used to put a bunch of things at the beginning of his, but most of his were advertising for like his own network and stuff. For a while, you know, then they started doing some other ads too. And that, you know, and I get it. Like I said, but if you put them all like right there, you know, I know it's easier to scrub through, but that's what people are going to pretty much do with them anyway, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm just glad. Like, don't get me wrong. I'd love to have some revenue for the show, you know? But if somebody was like, we need you to play this like 4 times, you know, or a network was like, we need you to put 4 commercials or 6 I'd be like, no. I don't, unless the money was real good, you know, cause you know, and even then we'd probably pull more of the Bill Burr move, which would be making fun of it, you know, instead of, you know, just reading copy or something. But yeah. Also, I don't think it's funny, you know, cause, just because you can talk on a podcast doesn't mean you can read out loud. You know, which again, Bill Burr has made fun of himself for doing, cause he's like, I can't read,
That's
you know,
funny.
He can read, but you know what I mean? Like when he reads, he stumbles over words and stuff, but when he talks, he's great, you know?
Wow.
And you know, it's funny though, cause with some of these ads that I've heard over the years, you know, it's like, wow, you can tell they've never read copy before. You know, like this is not the person that got called on in class to read out loud, you know? And, sometimes I wonder if the, advertisers hear it and are like,
Yeah, exactly.
like maybe we'll record something and but whatever. That's, you know,
it's fine.
Yeah. So whatever, you know,
I, you know, it's one of those things with podcasts. It's, you know, like the 20,000 Hertz, it doesn't bother me. Some of the, well, what I love is one of the political series of podcasts I listen to. They do their own commercials, and you know they make them fun. You know, they're just riffing. You know, they hit their bullet points, but they're riffing. So it's interesting. It feels like the podcast. So I just let it go.
Those I like.
I don't fast forward it.
That again. That's what, like Bill Burr. I listen to all the ads on his show because he, you know, he just makes fun of the product, or he just does what he normally does, and it's funny. You know. Yeah. Or on the Chip Chipperson podcast, it's the same thing. They have one, like deepdiscount.com is on there a lot, and they will, you know, goof around while they're reading the copy and stuff. So,
exactly. Yeah. And even though you can tell it's an edit, it's still like they did it live.
Yeah.
They do it different every single time. So like, you know, before they podcast, talk about a great warm up.
Yeah.
You know, like, okay, let's do our copy first. You know, okay, now let's do our podcast, and then they edit it all together. And like, I like that stuff. And the 20,000 Hertz stuff it's so NPR-esque that it doesn't bother me. You know, it just kind of plays, and it's the same guy and the voice. And it's like, okay, you know,
it's a pretty,
you know, but I have to say some of the indie podcasts that suddenly, you know, like pick up some, you know, vaping product or some other type of, you know, thing where I'm just like, I'm kind of done.
Yeah. I appreciated that when Neil said that on Dark Angels and Pretty Freaks, where he was talking about how they got approached with stuff and they were, you know, and he was like, we don't use that stuff, you know, and I agree, because I've listened to some podcasts where they were promoting, this was like forever ago, the one I'm referring to.
Yeah.
Like they advertise for vaping stuff and nobody on the show does. And it's like, there's no credibility there. You're just reading copy. Like the whole point of a lot of that copy is like, how many of those bed, you know, companies, Casper or whatever, you know, and they'll be like, I love my Casper bed and blah, 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 you know, and like Bill Burr will be like, no, I don't. They haven't sent me one, you know, like
I didn't like it.
Yeah.
But maybe you should try it, you know?
Yeah. And, you know, or the MeUndies before they actually sent him some. That was, you know,
so
it's just like that. And it's like, yeah, exactly. That's, you know, you know, cause there are some ads that when I hear them, I'm like, you know, I could buy that they use that product. And then there's others that you're like, oh yeah, come on.
You're like, there's no way. And I'm tired of hearing it.
Yeah.
And I stopped listening.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say it, but I mean, it's like, you know, when, you know how many freaking podcasts there are to choose from?
Oh,
it
seriously.
Doesn't take much to just say done.
Yeah.
like just even bad sound. I hate to say it, but like if it sounds, horrible, like if you got a lot of Skype issues that keep happening, like all the freaking time, and like the calls keep getting dropped, and sometimes you're just like, why do I listen to this? Oh wait, I'm sorry, I shouldn't be talking about that.
It's funny though, because if the podcasts that I listen to that do interviews that don't use Skype, they still have that to where it sounds like, when you watched the news in the 80s and someone would call in with a report, and it always had that like grain to it and, crackling and everything. And it sounds like garbage. And I'm like, they're calling from how can they not get a better sound than that? But it's, it's because it's not, it's not coming through these kind of mics. It's just coming from random phone thing.
Yeah.
But it's like, God, they sound terrible. Like, I love the Jim Ross report, but when he interviews people, it sounds like they're in a 1990s car phone, and it's not, but I know they do it partially because a lot of times they call from a more stable line. Not as much now because everybody's on cell phones, but I know for a while the reason they did it was, use a landline because it was stable. It wouldn't drop a call like a cell phone would. Back before there was, even 1G or 2G,
We didn't even know G.
Yeah. Now I don't get it because like I've heard interviews with people and you can hear noise in the background. You can tell they're doing shit while they're talking. Like one guy I swear went for a walk while he was talking, and like it sounded like he went into a convenience store. I swear I heard the bell.
Just doing a little shopping.
Yeah,
while I'm recording.
Yeah, basically. It's like, well,
that's funny.
People are busy. What are you going to do? But yeah, that's something that's always boggled my mind is how that hasn't gotten better.
Yeah.
But again, that's why a lot of podcasts want the guest in studio rather than, via Skype, because it sounds way better in person than, you don't run the risk of drop calls and all that stuff too, but yeah. So, I don't know. Did I tell everyone I'm Brian?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, okay.
You even said I'm Hanno.
It's been a long show.
Dude, last week when you're wrapping it up, I'm like, it's only been an hour 20.
Yeah.
What is this? This isn't salty language. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
We need more witty banter.
Speaking of that, this cracked me up. I'm listening to back episodes of Shot of History, trying to catch up, and on one of them, Dev was promoting us. And he's like, if you like the kind of shenanigans going on here, he's like, you'll like that show. And he's like, they've been known to do a show or two over 2 hours. And I laughed so hard when I heard that because almost every week is 2 hours. I keep trying to keep it at 2 hours, but we're terrible. So what can you do? If I edited, it would be different because I could cut various time out, but that's not going to happen.
Who wants to do that shit?
Yeah. Look,
nobody needs that. That's horseshit.
That's why you have the fast forward button on your phones and stuff.
Well, that's what sound thing I need to add an horseshit.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I don't have one.
Yep. Yeah. I know it's, the length's not for everybody, but just do like I do with longer podcasts and just, split them up, and that way you get your ears tickled by our voices multiple times a week instead of just at once.
Sultry ear tickling.
Yeah, sultry language for sure. Yeah.
Dude, you guys should just do one episode of sultry language. Oh my god.
Maybe we'll save that for like Valentine's Day or something,
That should be the Valentine's Day special.
It
sultry
should be.
Language. Just the whole thing in dirty Uncle Tony voice.
Man, that creeps so many people out.
It'd be so good.
Yeah.
Just be sultry language.
Especially, put that nice, sexy music bed,
Oh yeah, just through the whole thing.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You're like, oh, we got a guest host. It's we got Hanno playing guitar. I'm just doing the porn wah the whole time.
That would, yeah.
I'm like, dude, It's been 2 hours, man.
I know. I was like,
I can't waka waka anymore.
Yeah. Can we take a break? Nope.
No one can masturbate this long. My right hand is only good for so much.
Right. Oh, man. That would be ridiculous.
Yeah.
We really should do that, though. That would be... That's what we need, is we need to do, like Graphic Novice did when they did their episode 69, where it was all like sensual and whatever. Like, that's, yeah. Since, we put them out of business, we should, steal that. Yeah. Just pick through the rubble and take what we like,
That's it.
That's what happens when you win Moon Wars.
I was just going to say, it's, when you dominate the Moon Wars.
Yep. I haven't made a Moon Wars reference in a long time.
I was thinking about it before we were started up tonight.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, Moon Wars. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has. For sure. Oh, man. So I guess, how's your week been or whatever? I mean, it's been a while since you were on here. What, like 3 weeks?
Yeah, and it's been a while since you and I chatted.
Yeah. Actually, that is true this time. Normally we're saying it tongue in cheek, but...
Yeah, but it's actually true. Yeah, I did something really cool last night. I went to a steampunk museum after hours.
Oh,
but it's not. So it's the Idaho Falls Museum, and I guess they brought in a steampunk exhibit, and they rent the place out at night.
Okay,
you can do after hours like parties, like they have a room, like a little dining room, and so they set up a bar. And one of the guys that set this thing up, I don't know. I don't know if he. Because it's pretty expensive, so I doubt they did it. Cause we didn't get charged for anything. I think he just has a connection and made it happen. But it was really cool. I'm glad I went. It was like one. See, it's well, I'm just gonna say it's an online swingers group I'm part of, and a little sultry language,
right? Yeah. Oh yeah.
But they just do what they'll do is a meet and greet, right? And it's just so you can meet the people, and it's not like anyone's banging on the tables at whatever the event is,
Right.
So they'll do like restaurants and whatever.
In the bathroom, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. The hallway,
right? Everywhere else.
Yeah, and then everyone adjourns to their hotel rooms or whatever it is. But so it's cool. Is everyone dressed up? I didn't, because I looked at this week. I was like, I have nothing steampunk. I looked on Amazon. I'm like, geez, there's some cool stuff here. But I thought I was going to have to, board the dogs because Sharon was going to come along, and Sharon wasn't able to go. But I got a friend to go with, and we just didn't dress up. But the funny part about it is when we got there, I'm like, okay, everyone is literally dressed the same. Yes, there was some variation.
Yeah.
But you're all wearing the same fucking shit. And I'm like, what? I mean, like, everyone had the same stupid top hat on, the same little stickers of little gears, and it was the same stupid puffy shirt and vest and pants. And I'm like, okay, well, where's the originality in this?
It was a bulk steampunk thing.
Evidently, yeah.
They just bought a bunch of them.
It was really but the chicks looked amazing. Lots of corsets and
Yeah, I love seeing the steampunk stuff, like when we would go to the Comic Cons and stuff. You know, there's some really cool stuff that people do.
Really cool stuff, yeah.
Yeah,
like, and that's like I mean, there's some just really creative stuff, and I really dig the Asian steampunk vibe. I think that is just the coolest, and a lot of people they're totally against it. And I'm like, fuck that. That period of time can happen in multiple different countries,
right?
With different cultural flavors. It's not, it's like, oh, this is exclusive. No, it's not. It's exclusively Victorian England or whatever. Part of the U.S. or, it's like, so they had interactive exhibits, and it was everything. They were all it would be a machine that was made up in one of the stories, whether it's an H.G. Wells or, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Who was that? Jules Verne or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. So they had this machine that was, pushed a button and it did some stuff, and they all, so each little thing that it was usually a seat and then like a mannequin in it that was done up steampunkish, and then it had the theme that it connected to. And then they just went into, the inspirations of whether it's surgical stuff or electrical this or that. And it was a really great exhibit. And it was just fun to be in there like after hours and just kind of goof off. And
yeah.
And so that was really fun last night. And then today I got up and I got my my new iPad. So here's the fucked up thing about Apple. They release a new device and there's just no freaking accessories yet.
Yeah.
Right? And especially when they change something. So they've gotten rid of the Lightning connector and gone to the USB-C, also known as a Thunderbolt.
Yeah.
The connector. But here's the thing. Thunderbolt, the USB-C has become the common connector for lots of different types of phones now and tablets. But evidently Apple's decided to do a different pinout if you want to adapt to audio, like headphones.
What? Okay.
Yeah. So I went online and I ordered, because I didn't want white. I wanted some black connectors. So they're the same color as my headphones.
Yeah. And
I ordered some USB-C to 3.5 millimeter connectors. Well, they came, from eBay, and it's like half the price. And they don't work. And then there was another adapter connector comes and it doesn't work. So now I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to get the Apple ones, which actually the dongles are reasonably priced. And I hate to say reasonably priced at $9 a piece.
Yeah.
But still it's, at least it's not $18 a piece. Right.
Yeah.
So I was going to order them, like, I'll go to Best Buy because I'm in Idaho Falls. So I go in the Best Buy at Idaho Falls. Of course, they're all gone.
Yeah.
There was a single one there. Now they have the ones for all the other ones, but I've already bought some that don't work.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Right. And anyone that's selling USB to 3.5 millimeter connectors, it's not like they're up on the latest iPad Pro that's come out.
Right. Yeah. They should be, but they're not. Yeah.
But they're not. And I don't expect them to be, It's like, it's not their fault that, but eventually all of them are going to have to say does not work with iPads.
Yeah. Yep.
But, the iPad itself is freaking amazing.
Yeah.
So it is the same size as the 9.7 inch, but the screen goes all the way to the edges.
Right.
And it's pretty awesome. It was like, because it's been 2 years since I bought my other iPad, and I'm like, like I said, I cracked it. And it still works. I'm using this for the sound. I just put a glass screen on it. I can see the crack in there, but I don't feel it anymore.
Yeah.
And it works fine. But like, as soon as I plugged it in, it was like it automatically synced with my iPhone.
Right.
It transferred everything over, and it was like, and the image quality of the camera, I was like, damn, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
The only weird thing though is there's no home button, so I had to learn how to do.
Yeah.
Everything's different now, so I'm like, it's like, would you like the tutorial? Nah.
Yeah.
I'm on freaking Google and everything. How do I do this?
Yeah.
How do I do that?
Right.
And here's the funny thing is, they're so new that nobody's really gotten into them yet.
Yeah.
So it's not out there. So talk about some luxury problems, Jesus.
Right? Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty awesome. So I was able to, I went down to the store and I grabbed one because I just happened to be in Twin Falls. Oh, I'm going to get all of our new appliances on Tuesday too, which I'm
nice.
totally stoked for. Yeah,
cool.
That'll be cool. But what was I going to say? Oh yeah. So so they didn't have, they don't have any cases yet. There's, but I managed to get those online and, got a case and screen. The other thing I never tried is because of gaming, you don't want to use one of those soft screen protectors, right? Because your finger gets stuck on it, right?
Yep.
But what I've noticed is the tempered glass ones can also be a problem because they're too thick, so you lose that sensitivity, right? Well, I ordered from a company, where it is? Anyhow, it's on Amazon. It wasn't Zag, it was another company, and you get a 2-pack of these. They're like 3 millimeter or plus, they're some of the thinnest glass, but it was cool. This was a neat, like when you go put a screen protector on, you can never quite line it up.
Yeah.
Like, right, and you're like, oh, you're a little off, and now it's, and then you can't peel it up
Right.
or whatever, and it's so frustrating, right? Well, this one, I opened the box, and it's got literally the alcohol wipe, the dryer. Mm-hmm. It's got the little sticker to pick up any lint, right? But they had a great way of doing it is you line it up and they give you 3 pieces of tape that you put like a hinge. So So you stick it to the back of the device and then to the top of the screen protector once you've set it into place. And so now what you're able to do is you're able to tilt it back, right? Mm-hmm. Peel off the backer and slide it and lower it back down like it's on a hinge.
Right.
Like you're closing a book. And so it goes back into the exact same spot. Right. And I'm like, this is brilliant. You know, and it was a lot less expensive. And I just wanted to try it to see if it was thin enough for gaming. Mm-hmm. And so this is great. I get the first one down. Right. I mean, and I always end up fucking this up somehow with some little piece of dust or a piece of lint gets stuck in something always. I'm like, fuck, or a bubble. And so I'm like super meticulous. I washed my hands. I got freaking gloves on, everything. And I lower the thing down and there was a little fucking hair about a 1/4 inch long sticking out the edge. I'm like, motherfucker. And I could not get it up to get the little, oh my God, I was pissed. So I finally get it to wedge in there. But well, this is a real thin screen, tempered glass. So it cracked immediately. And I'm just like, motherfucker, dogs leave the house.
Right.
Like, we're out of here. Dad's pissed.
Yeah.
So luckily they sold it in 2 packs. So I tried the second one. And it actually really worked. I brought up, I've been playing Blitz again, I'm like, okay, the summer's over. The kids aren't playing. Let's see if Tanks is better. And so I jumped on and it actually worked pretty good, but they haven't optimized it yet for the full screen. But what's cool is I can tell it to do full graphics rendering, cause the processor's so good.
Right.
So,
nice.
Yeah, so if you're shopping for an iPad Pro, if you're into it, the new ones they're pretty great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't surprise me. Yeah, I know. It is, like I keep, anytime I've been in like Best Buy or whatever, I'm always over looking at, like I haven't been over there since those came out, but like the ones before, and I'm like, ooh, especially when they put the pencil out, and I was like, man, I really want one of these.
Yeah, and now the pencil charges through the iPad. Mm-hmm. So the case has a little, some of the cases have a little spot for the pencil, so it's charging, and there's they're getting pretty cool. It's I know a lot of the things that the iPads and the iPhones do have already been in effect.
Yeah.
For Android phone for a while or whatever it is, whether it's charging or this or blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Right.
But there's just certain things that they just seem to work right.
Yeah.
And I'm still happy with the product line. They might not be the most advanced there. I mean, basically Apple used to be the number one ahead of everything. And now they're literally behind on everything. Yep. But they're still ultimately seamless because one operating system, one set of hardware.
Yeah.
There's always a third thing.
Yeah.
Google has to be part of, there's a browser that has to be part of an Android phone.
Right.
Right. Whereas it's just different. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyhow.
I know what you're saying. Yeah. Yep.
So I was kind of stoked about that. That was kind of cool. And my uncle died today. That sucked.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah.
So I'm super glad I went and saw him. Remember, I went and saw him in Atlanta.
That's right. Yeah.
So glad I saw him a couple years ago. I mean, otherwise I literally would have had no personal memory of him at all. Cause I think, the last time I saw him before that was at least a decade, maybe even more.
Yeah.
So it wasn't, I mean, this week, my cousin sent me a message saying that he was, going downhill and it wasn't going to be much longer.
Yeah.
So it was today, and that was, I'm not that they were all on the East Coast, so it's not like we saw each other all the time. It was like, when I was younger, it was once a year, that kind of thing. But,
right.
So, and I hope they do some sort of a service, because I would like to go. I'd like to see everybody, the whole family again if I can, because I haven't seen my one of my cousins in at least 20 years.
Oh wow!
I mean, has to be at least, I mean, it might even be 30 years now that the last time I saw him. Like,
wow.
Yeah. Which is a trip. But.
Right. Wow.
Yeah. So that's kind of, I had something else big happen. I don't remember what it was, but whatever. Oh, I got one last thing. This is a good one because, since I'm filling in for Tony, my wife.
Right.
So we had this, oh man. So I'm in the process of dealing with a lot of my debt.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't listen to The Crazy Life, that's something I talked about a lot, and money issues and blah, blah, blah. It's part of my recovery from alcoholism too, was retail therapyism.
Same with me in depression, you know, like even now there's, you know, it's like sometimes just eat, you know, like I've said with like those Funko Pops and stuff, it's like I'll get one and be like, oh, cool, you know, and then it's like, man, you're still doing the retail therapy. You're just doing it on a smaller scale now.
And you totally nailed it this week too. I'm like totally trying to make these changes, and like I popped up, opened one of my credit card, went online, checked it, and I'm like, oh wow, all of those little $1 and $2 and $5, like those dongles and stuff, that's all $35 now.
Yeah, right.
No wonder I'm broke.
Yeah. Yep.
But so one of the things is we haven't dealt with. She has wanted to deal with her own debt for a while now. And she's been building up her credit because she used to own a home and had some issues with that. And you get sick and tired of being sick and tired and you want to do something, right?
Yep.
And so, I threw out the options. It's like, okay, well, you can file for bankruptcy because, my debt is not your debt. Married couples can do it separately. I don't want it because I've already worked so hard on my credit.
Really?
I don't want to make it worse. I'm like, okay.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that you could do that, like file separately that.
Yeah, if you don't have joint credit cards.
Oh, okay.
Right? So she can file bankruptcy for her stuff alone.
Okay.
And it doesn't affect me at all. And so when, and I'm like, okay, there's the offers and compromise and all that stuff where you end up, basically default and then say, okay, how much will you, and then it's still on your record, but not as long. It's not like a bankruptcy, blah, blah.
Right.
Credit services, all the various things. I'm like, I'm finally at the point where, I can actually take it all on myself.
Yeah.
And help her with this, which is something I offered to do a while ago, but she wasn't ready to do it. And I'm actually in a better position where I can do this. And so one thing comes up, she asked me, how much are the living expenses in the house, cause she's looking at she loves her job. It just doesn't pay enough right now, and so she's looking, okay, how much am I paying? I'm like, okay, well, I figured out all the expenses of the house and everything. And I said, okay, this is what it is. It's roughly, I pay 2/3, you pay 1/3. She's like, okay. She's like, and, she's like, so how much do I pay on the mortgage? I'm like, nothing. You pay the utilities. I pay the mortgage. And she's like, so I don't own any part of the house. Like, no, it's in my name. So I pay it.
Right.
What about the car? I'm like, well, the car's, your credit wasn't good enough to get a good enough loan, so the car's in my name as well.
Right.
He's like, so if we got divorced, I don't have a car and I don't have any place to live.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just like,
yeah, so she better shape up. No, I'm kidding.
And I'm like, all right, wait a minute. Like, I'm like, hold on a second. There was some like real resentment in there,
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
yeah.
But me being just dummy, I'm like, I got nothing. I'm like, I know there's something here. And finally it took me like 2 days to realize, oh, I have all the debt. You don't owe on that car.
Right.
You can leave.
Right.
I have to pay off the car.
Exactly.
You can leave. The house is mine.
Yep.
It's like I assumed the debt of the mortgage. I'm like, there's balance here. So here's the funny part. So we're talking about the credit card thing, and I'm like, okay, I can take care of this. So take care of everything. All the balances come through, and she like walks in. She's like, ha ha, you have all my credit cards.
Sucker.
Like, you feel better now? Feel better?
She followed it up with, and I want a divorce.
I want half. Eddie Murphy routine. Yeah. Eddie, I want half.
Oh man.
Oh God. You shaved a bitch down and taught her to speak English, didn't you? This is goody goo shit. For all of you who have not seen that, go watch Eddie Murphy Raw. You'll barely get through the first 10 minutes. It's so inappropriate.
That's accurate. I watched it. Was it Netflix? I think it was, or maybe it was somewhere else. I had it like a year or two ago, and I watched it, and I was like,
"You're like,
wow,
whoa, yeah."
I was telling Tony, I started watching Married with Children because it's on Hulu now. And so I started, from the beginning on that, and I'm like, God, there's so much stuff on that show that I'm going, they just couldn't do it now. And it isn't that it's horribly offensive, it's just not okay now, But, at the time it seemed cutting edge, like, cause they were pushing boundaries. Now it's like, ooh, no, that's not how we do things. But whatever.
Yeah, so it was. I'll probably share a little bit more on that on the Crazy Life, but yeah, it was pretty funny. And then I'm like, okay, hand him over. Like it's going in my safe deposit box.
Yeah, right.
But then, it's just such a. I mean, talk about just one of those things with couples where it's, we have never been the commingle our stuff, right?
Yeah, right.
This is our relationship. We've kept our finances separate, and this is, finally the first time where we're actually having to do this stuff. And at one point, she hands me all of them. I'm like, okay, you get this one. And it was like that instant, like, shit, he's in control now.
Yeah. But that's in the best interest though. Otherwise you're like, look, I have 17 credit cards all paid off. Time to go shopping.
Oh man, it was just, that's so, the money, politics, religion, money. Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah. But otherwise it's been pretty good. How about you? What have you been doing?
A whole bunch of nothing. No, I've still been trying to sell some stuff on eBay to, finish off the amount that I think I'm going to need to file bankruptcy. And, I'll talk about this more on the Crazy Life also, but my hatred of phone calls, or let's not call it hatred. My fear and anxiety of phone calls. Let's call it what it is, Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I hate them. I don't like making phone calls, but it's because of anxiety. And so I still haven't called attorneys yet. So
oh no,
I need to do that because I need to find, ask some questions, find out how much it's going to be, blah, blah, So my goal is to do that this week. We'll see if I hit it or not, but, so I'm just, I'm going back to, I'm finding it really hard to get out of bed. So I'm trying to make sure that I do something, air quote, productive each day. Mm. It's like, okay, well, I laid in bed better than half the day, but at least I did this, Yeah. So I've gotten, it's really funny because the stuff I've gotten done is I finished the audiobook I was listening to, which is really strange because I finished it and I was like, okay, I just don't have the satisfaction of if I had just closed the book, you read the acknowledgments and then you just shut it and you're like, yeah, I didn't get that instant gratification by being done with it. So that was interesting. Something I hadn't really considered because I hadn't listened to a full audiobook, but it was really good. I'm really glad that I got it and listened to it. It was, I've talked about it. Well, the last time you were on, actually, I believe, is Mishka Shabali's book, and it was really good. If people want to read it, go buy it if you can buy it. If you can't, you could sign up for Audible and get it. And I'm not saying that because Audible's a sponsor of ours. I'm just saying. But go to his website, mishkashabali.com, because he's got some neat t-shirts that I liked, and you can order stuff directly from him. But man, that dude's been on a roller coaster of a life. So, you know, but like I told you, it was one of the coolest parts of that book to me was getting to really see inside the head of somebody who was dealing with depression and alcoholism at the same time. You know, and not just that, but also, you know, using various drugs too, you know, like he was in a really dark place in his own head. So just the thought process on some of it, cause obviously some of it I can identify with the depression stuff, you know, but yeah, it's, you know, when you get to a point that, you know, like I told you, like somewhere in the middle of the book or whatever, he makes that comment that, you know, he used to drink to feel good. Now he drinks to just not feel bad. You know, and when he said that, I was like, wow, that's a real shift in thinking there. You know, also, not just in your actions, but in your thinking. So, anyway, but like I said, it's, you know, I enjoyed it. I do feel a little sense of accomplishment finishing it though, only in that it's still, in the last like 5 years, I've read 2 books. You know, so the fact that I got another book on that list,
okay,
you know, that part of it, I'm like, okay, you know,
yeah.
So, and it is easier for me to listen to that because I can do it while I'm doing something else. You know, like while I was working on eBay listings, I'm listening to it. I can't hold the book here and do eBay listings, you know, so it does have its advantages. But yeah, like I said, I wanted to get that done. And I got that done. I've done, you know, I cleaned my desk off again, because it really needed it. For those of you who aren't regular listeners, I basically trashed my desk and then I hit a point where I can't stand it anymore and completely clean it. So that happened. You know, I've just been doing stuff like that and straightening and cleaning some stuff that needed it and whatever, and trying to get things a little more in a row to where basically so that when I want to do something, I can do it, you know, so that I'm not, you know, like I told you before, I'm just eliminating the excuses. That's what I'm trying to do.
Exactly.
Yeah. That way there's no like, oh, if I do this, you know, nope. It's gone. It's like, okay, well, yeah. So yeah, that's really about all I've done this week. It hasn't been very exciting. Yeah, I wanted to mention on here, we didn't get to talk about it last week because it happened like that. Was it the day after we recorded or something like that? But Stan Lee died, which by now is not news to anybody, but it's, but the fact that, you know, it blew my mind how, first of all, you know, you see tons of people that are like, you know, RIP and all this kind of stuff and posting different stuff about, you know, things he created or that, you know, posting pictures of when they got to meet him or all this kind of stuff. And, you know, it was really cool because like I pointed out that he co-created Spider-Man, which is always probably going to be at my heart, that's the character. You know, if you put a gun to my head and said you have to pick a character, it's gonna be Spider-Man because I identified with Spider-Man. As much as I love Batman, I've never been a billionaire. So, you know, whereas I have been a nerd that got picked on in school, you know, so it was one of those books that, you know, even at a young age, when I first read it, I identified with Peter Parker, even though I was like 10, you know, 9, whatever, you know, and, over the years, I just never, like, it was always there, you know, like I went back and read, like, they used to put these books out that were called like the Essential, Spider-Man or the Essential X-Men or whatever, and they basically were reprints of the early issues, but they're just in black and white and on newsprint, basically. But they were only like $10. And it was a good, you know, couple inches thick book for that. And I went back and read so much, like all of the Spider-Man ones they put out, I read, you know, and I loved how Stan Lee, I just love how he created, because again, he made superheroes with, like Achilles' heels, you know?
Yeah.
They weren't just like Superman. If you look at Superman on the surface, it's like, well, dude, okay, he's, you know, got kryptonite as his weakness. It's like, how much kryptonite is around, you know, kind of a concept.
Yeah.
Spider-Man's still a dude, even though he's got the proportional strength of a spider, you know, but it turns out the alter egos end up being their weakness, essentially. But you know, it was, like I said, so Spider-Man was always the one that I kind of attached to the character and was like, you know, this is showing me hope. You know, like that the nerd gets the girl, the nerd can be successful, you know, this kind of stuff. So I that's why I said it'll always be the character probably closest to my heart. And, you know, and it's a big loss for the comics world. I mean, he wasn't, you know, he's not still wasn't still really creating or any of that stuff, but it was still, you know, he's considered one of the Mount Rushmore guys, basically, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I saw different people, and in fact, one of them, Bill Maher, I want to punch in the face, basically shit on Stan Lee and questioned the importance of comic books. Did
he do that on Friday night? Because I haven't watched the show yet.
Yeah, I think that's what I was reading earlier. I was reading some of the comments and whatever. That's a whole nother thing. Anyway. But I saw more of that, or a good amount of that on the internet, like people, and look, I was a big fan of the fact that he created, or co-created, some of the best characters, you know, but I also, of course, have appreciation for the Steve Ditkos and Jack Kirby's, and, you know, because I love that original Spider-Man suit design. Like, again, that's part of the reason why I was drawn to the character. I love that costume so much. But I saw various people just like shitting on people posting, you know, it's like when someone famous dies, you know, a lot of people are like, RIP, and they don't actually have a real, you know, there's no real life connection, but you know, also it's like, okay, you know, where were you 3 months ago? Like, you know, you never said a word about it. But I saw people that were just like disregarding people's reactions and stuff. And I'm like, you know, I remember Tony and I doing that on this show to some extent too, with other stuff. Like, you know, we had a mayor here that suddenly died, and like there was so many people there, and I'm like, you know, it was just like, why are there this many people here? Like, they didn't know this guy. Half of them probably didn't even vote for that guy, you know? But I've kind of come around on that in that, you know, cause as we've talked on The Crazy Life, you know, it's never okay to minimize someone's grief, because to them, it's whatever level of grief it is. You know, don't get me wrong. There is obviously overreaction to things, but, you know, and I found myself actually saying that to a couple people on that day that I saw kind of being shitty about it, you know, which is, you know, it's like, how does this hurt you? You know? It's not hurting anyone for people to talk about how much they love Stan Lee's characters, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Also, if anybody wants to look, Aaron from the Obscure Gentleman comic and whatnot did a really nice tribute to Stan Lee. You can find him on Twitter at ObscureAaron, or if you go to obscuregentleman.com, I believe it's posted over there too. So, yeah, or actually it might be The Obscure Gentleman. I always get their site wrong. But anyway, yeah. So that's what I gotta say about that. What about you? Did you have any?
You know, I never did, because I wasn't into comics.
Mm-hmm.
So any sort of connection to those characters was through early television.
Okay.
And cartoons. So it would have been, you know, just the live action stuff in the 70s and any cartoon related stuff. And so I just never had, you know, I'd heard the name. I knew the name
right.
that it was associated. But to tell you the truth, the reason I know anything about Stan Lee now is because of podcasts.
Yeah.
And listening to you and Graphic Novice and Snake Oil Comics and all that kind of stuff is the one reason that I have any sort of knowledge about, you know, these people. And then, you know, and then once you're interested, then like if a story comes up about somebody, you know, then I'll look into it some more. But I had a question for you, which was something I've seen in the paper lately about Stan Lee, is the term sheroes instead of heroes.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
As far like him using it or someone else?
Not him, just people like. I just popped up today in a story I saw. I don't know if it was an opinion piece, I think, in on the New York Times, but it was just that was the headline was something about sheroes, and then talking about what Stan Lee had done for, like you said, character and blah blah blah.
Yeah, because I mean he created the Black Panther or co-created whatever. It's like he's a crusty white dude, and he created the most popular black character that I can think of off the top of my head. I'm sure there's others like Jon Stewart from Green Lantern, and there's other ones, but it was still, he was the first like prominent character, and
female characters too, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So what's your opinion on that term?
I'm really weird about a lot of this stuff because I don't like terms that separate. Hero can be male or female or, however you identify, hero is not male specific.
It's not gender specific.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
So, so it's like, okay, I get it. Like, you've heard a lot of people say like herstory instead of history and stuff like that. And I get it, especially with the movements that are going on right now, which, are fine and all. It's kind of weird, but there's a lot of power shift in comics right now, a lot of people with that comics gate garbage, trying to keep any diversity out of comics basically. So yeah, it doesn't really bother me, if it was done in some way that was, I don't know, more disrespectful or something, but it's really, I'm sure at its core, it's just to celebrate the strong female characters, which...
The strong female, yeah.
Yeah, which there are more of now.
Of it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like I noticed it with actor or actress that I see more female actors using the term actor,
right,
regardless of whether it's male or female, and they're using it more often because to me it's an identity thing. Mm-hmm. There's something about setting that term actor.
Yeah.
It does not refer, it's not masculine, it's not feminine. It refers to somebody that has a particular skill and is in a particular occupation or, vocation or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And to me, it elevates it somewhat.
Well, yeah, because I mean, if you
refer to both.
Right. And plus if you look at like, there's not dentist and dentist at, like, like,
dentist.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's like, I like that, I listened to, I can't remember what podcast it was. There was something, they had a guy, they were talking with him about, language and how it adjusts over time, because of how people hate text speak now and stuff, but yet it's rampant, And he was like, well, if you go back and look at language, words all change all the time. Like the same word, like the way, what it's used to refer to is tweaked over time. Yeah. And I kind of think that's what's happened with like the actor thing, because there doesn't need to be an actress category. Actor should be, that's it. That's your job. You act. You're an actor. Yeah. That's your job. It's like when I see these high school and college basketball games and stuff, and they're like, oh, the Lady Rockets or what. It's like, they're the Rockets. Why do they have to be the Lady Rockets? It's like, don't get me wrong. If they're fine with it, whatever. But I'm just, in my head, I'm just like, we don't need this. I can look at them and tell they're women, or just say, the Rockets women's team or something like that. But, whatever. So yeah, he did quite a bit, to try to push diversity and stuff too, which is, again, especially when you're considering he's writing in like the 60s, early 60s, or whatever. Oh, yeah. So, it's pretty awesome. Actually, I forgot to mention one of my favorite things, aside from Spider-Man, that he created, or he did, was in the back of Marvel Comics, they always had the bullpen, which was the letters page, right?
Yeah.
And he used to ask stuff in there, and when people would respond, or they'd point something out to him or whatever, he would say that their no prize was in the mail. and like literally, like you don't get a prize for it. But there was still, I know various people that were comic nerds like myself that kept sending letters in hopes of getting a no prize.
That's awesome.
Because you just want to get mentioned by Stan, that was what you were trying to do, so, that was one of my favorite things. I've always liked the letters pages in comics because I like reading what people ask the creators and stuff, or the editors or whatever. But a lot of comics have cut those out, for cost purposes, cause that's 1 or 2 less pages they have to print. So, yeah. Although there are some great ones out there, like Sex Criminals, of course, has the best letters column.
Oh, it's so good. That's just absolutely the best.
Yeah. But yeah, it's that no prize is one of those things that, is just, like I said, it's just it was just a funny thing, but at the same time, like I said, there was prestige to it. Even though you literally got nothing, it was not a prize, Yeah. So,
that's great.
I loved it.
So I have since we're on comics, I have a shut up and take my money about comics.
Oh yeah?
Believe it or not, me, of all people, if we can do that.
Yeah.
Shut up and take my money.
Nice.
So the author, Patrick Rothfuss, who wrote The Name of the Wind, which has become it's a fantasy novel. It's become somewhat popular in certain podcast, Twitter circles.
Right.
It's an amazing fantasy novel. If you're into fantasy, he creates just a fantastic world. He's written 2 books in the series. Hopefully the 3rd one will come out pretty soon. But he has gotten together with a couple of an author and an illustrator to create Rick and Morty versus Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh my.
And allow me to read the synopsis on Amazon. When Morty needs to learn how to play D&D to keep up with the cool kids, his hard-drinking, old-school gaming, mad science-making grandpa is happy to teach him how to roll the dice. But neither of them is prepared for the saving throws they're about to fail or for the true quest yet to come. Strap on a +1 longsword and grab your 10-foot pole because this is going to be gaming gauntlet like no other. The world's greatest role-playing game, reality's most dysfunctional family. What could go wrong? There's 4 of them, and they're $1.99 for Kindle.
Oh, wow. Nice.
or Comixology. This just popped up because I follow Rothfuss, anything that Rothfuss does. So, Jim Zub, I don't know if that's a name that means anything to you. He's one of the authors along with Patrick, and then the illustrator is Troy Little.
Okay.
And this just sounds fun.
Yeah.
Because Rick and Morty and Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. I do love the fact that it's like Morty has to learn to play to keep up with the cool kids. It's like, the cool kids until just recently would never have been playing Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah. Like I call myself a geek in a Twitter room a couple weeks ago, and someone said something about don't be so hard on yourself. And I'm like, no, I wear it with pride. I was like, I can now. I was like, when I was a kid, you hit that shit, now it's everybody's a geek, So yeah, that is funny though. That does sound like fun though.
Yeah, and I'm stoked to read about it or to get into it just because I'm not a Rick and Morty fan, but I enjoy their the thing. Yeah, and then Patrick Rothfuss's writing it's just awesome. So
nice.
I'm looking forward to seeing what they come up with.
Yeah, it should be interesting.
Pretty funny.
Yeah, I like it.
So there was a story that I ran across that was very salty language.
Okay.
It was very Tony. I was wondering if actually it was Tony, since he isn't here this week, because it said police lock up angry raccoons drunk on crabapple hooch until they sober up.
Well, the way you can tell it's not Tony is I don't think he would drink. Well, he might, depending on what kind of hooch we're talking about, but I don't know that he would want would you say cranapple or cranberry? Whatever.
Crabapple.
Sorry. Yeah.
Hooch.
So,
But,
I don't know.
I mean, he's been gone now for a while. I mean, he may have hit that point.
Yeah, he could have.
Crabapple hooch.
Yeah. I mean, listen, if I got a, phone call that was like, hey, I need some, need bailed out, it wouldn't surprise me. Be like, what'd you get arrested for? Like, well, digging through trash.
So, reports of rabid raccoons terrorizing a West Virginia neighborhood turned out to be exaggerated. The raccoons didn't have rabies. They simply found some fermented crab apples and apparently are rather surly drunks. We have had calls on suspected rabid raccoons twice over the last 2 days. The Milton Police Department went on Facebook. Turns out they appear to be drunk on crab apples. The department released a mug shot of one of the masked suspects, which is hilarious because it's just a close-up of a raccoon. Police recently hauled in 2 drunk raccoons. Although catching them was a community effort, after the animals sobered up, the officers released them into the woods unharmed. Do not approach raccoons that are acting unusual, police said. Call the authorities just in case the creatures are ill rather than drunk.
Right. Oh, that's funny.
Hilarious.
Yeah. That's really funny. In the last probably 3 months or so, that's got to be like the 4th or 5th raccoon story that I've like. They're just causing trouble all over the place for some reason.
They are.
So
they must be listening to the podcast and realizing that one of their own has such freedom.
Yeah.
To roam the world that they're just like, we must be with Tony.
Yeah.
Our fearless leader.
That must be what's going on. Like, I don't know if you saw, like, there was it in Toronto a month or 2 ago? There was a thing where they were like harassing people at an apartment building or something like that. And it
was, yeah.
Yeah. Just cracking me up. Silly raccoons.
Now, the other story, you might have seen this online. Have you seen the mugshot of the dude with the ginormous neck?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Have you read any of the this story was great just for the puns, for the dad jokes that have accompanied this man's rather profound connector?
No, I've seen I've seen plenty of like people on Twitter making fun of it, but I haven't seen like really like dad jokes about it. Yeah.
It's just great. All right. So Florida cops posted a mugshot of a jailbird with a freakishly large neck, and observers really went for the throat in a pun-filled viral thread. Mm-hmm. Quote, his neck is still at large.
Oh, that's
Another
terrible.
Quipped, quote, dude is up to his neck in charges. McDowell was arrested on a slew of drug charges and sent to jail on November 11th. The sheriff's office said Tuesday's Post, but the internet was much more interested in his neck than the bust. Quote, somebody notify his next to kin.
Oh, jeez. It's terrible.
Another pointed to the tattoos on his most prominent body part and quipped, he should sell advertising space on that neck. But the teasing was hard to swallow, others said.
Man.
Y'all leave that man alone. Next time could be you.
Oh, this is so bad.
That's so bad. It was so good.
That's such a weird picture, though. Like, when I first saw it, because it was on the trending thing on Twitter, and I was like, what the hell is going on? I thought, Photoshop or something. Because I also saw, one of my favorite things was I saw, was it? Somebody made a comparison between Bowser in the Super Mario Brothers movie and him. He's got the little tiny head or whatever.
Yep.
And then huge body. So that was, that made me laugh, but I mean, what he got arrested for is not funny though.
No, meth, cocaine, intent to distribute, manufacture, $57,000 bond.
Yeah.
That's not so bueno.
No.
Yeah, the first time I saw it, I was like, okay. Dude makes Henry Rollins back in the old Rollins band days look tiny.
Yeah. Yeah, because back then Rollins looked like his neck was going to explode. So yeah.
Oh, he had like a chin and then a chest.
Yeah.
And there's this tree trunk in between.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Have you seen my tree trunk?
Like, oh, you mean your neck?
That's what that thing is.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man.
Here, watch me make it ripple.
Yeah. Oof.
Look, I'm being angry.
Yeah. Hey, watch, I can make this vein move.
Totally. Yeah, that was a couple funny stories I had.
Huh, nice. I like
That was
it. So, well, let's see. Yeah, this will release that before then. Duh. Thanksgiving's this coming week.
Yep.
Do you do anything for Thanksgiving?
I have usually gone home to California, but the last few years I haven't. And mainly just for financial reasons.
Right. Yeah.
So it's going to be probably at our local recovery hall. They do a potluck, so we should go do that.
That's cool.
Sharon and I both have Friday off, so hopefully we're going to go do something since she didn't get to come along to that event last night.
Oh, okay,
and
cool.
We really need to do some things together. You know.
Yeah, I guess so.
I know.
Just remember,
I guess that's what you do when you're married.
Just be careful if she whips out the credit card and says, "I'll pay." I'm just, no.
Well, that's.
If I were her, I'd so do that. just for shit.
Just to throw it out.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I know. My family's getting together and with more people than like ever. So
really,
yeah. It sucks because it's family, but at the same time, it's like it's a lot of people. And I don't do well with a lot of people in a not big area, Yeah. So, I don't know. We'll see how this goes.
And that was my last trip I think it was 3 years ago. And that was, there was a lot of people, but it was really great. It was awesome, but that would have been 2000. Was it 16? Yeah, it would have been 2016 for sure.
That seems right. Yeah, I was going to say, I remember you going.
I think it was, yeah. It was big because last year I know I didn't go. And I'm pretty sure, so this is going to be the second in a row that I'm not going to do. And I talked with my mom about it and she had a great thing. She's just like, your 50th birthday is going to be in March. Why don't you come out here and we'll have a party? Yeah. And I was like, all right, that's fair. And it doesn't have to be in March. It can be in February or whatever.
Sure.
Oh. Speaking of my wife.
Uh-oh.
So we have this whole credit card discussion, right? All this is done, blah, blah, blah. And she knows about the going home for March, instead of Thanksgiving.
Right.
Do you think I can go to Mexico for a retreat in February?
She's like, I got room on my cards.
Excuse me? We're going to Jamaica in September.
Right.
I was like,
That's not till September though, Henno. That's a lot of months.
What kills me about it though is it's such a fucking good deal. So a friend of hers does this annual women's retreat in Sayulita, Mexico, which is just this gorgeous place. A lot of surfers go there. It's really popular. And it's usually about $1,000 a head, and the person that does it is a friend of ours, and it's just like, I'll cover everything. All you got to do is pay your airfare.
Oh my, yeah,
and bring in some cash for incidentals. And I'm like that appeals to my sense of retail therapy. It's like, hey, I know it cost me $500, but I saved $7.
Yeah, totally.
Or, I needed change for gum.
Yeah, right?
So I bought a microphone.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
That works. Anyhow.
Yeah, it is tough to pass stuff like that when
That's the problem.
Yeah. Especially if you do have the money, if you don't have the money, it's no big deal. You're like, well, I'm broke, but if you have a means to do it and you're like, well, I really should do this or, whatever. So, yeah.
But then it was like, okay, Sharon's birthday's in February, and it's like, that'd be a pretty awesome birthday present.
Right. Send your wife away. Yeah.
Yeah. myself.
Yeah. Get out
My
of here.
50th birthday.
Yeah. Get out of here.
No, it's my birthday.
Yeah.
Me and the boys need to sit around with our hands down our pants and leave the toilet seat up for a week.
Yep.
You know, we got to drink out of the toilets and that kind of stuff.
I can't wait to see the picture of your dogs with pants in their paw down the pants.
Hey, Bogart does it all the time.
Yeah.
Remember, he can't lick that thing.
Yeah.
All he can do is rub it with one paw. and look embarrassed while he's doing it.
Well, I mean, you know.
When you are compelled to constantly rub your junk, no matter who's in the room, I'd be a little embarrassed. Like, could you imagine? Like, I can't help it, but I have to do it.
Yeah.
You know what? That's really terrible because there are people that literally have that problem, and it's. I'm going to hell.
That's
I'm a dick.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
They'll understand.
Maybe.
Just don't shake their hand.
Nah, good tip.
Or let them make you sandwiches.
That too.
Like that old joke.
Is that mayonnaise?
Sure. It's man something.
Is that Miracle Whip?
Mm-hmm.
Is that Miracle Whip?
Oh, man, right? So, you know, it's interesting to me, like with Thanksgiving coming up, you know, because that also means, you know, the official beginning of the Christmas shopping season, which also equals Brian doesn't want to go to a store for the next month and a half. Well, a little longer than that because returns, but, you know, I keep seeing people posting stuff about how, you know, like this business or this business is closed on Thanksgiving. And they're like, you know, this is great. They're doing the right thing. You know, people should be with their families. And I'm like, they're not doing it because of that. That's how people are interpreting it. But it's like, all right, look, on Thanksgiving Day, I volunteered to work Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, all that stuff, because Thanksgiving and Christmas Eve, I got time and a half. Christmas Day, I got double time. Right?
Hell yeah.
I'm making like $16 an hour to work a video store.
Yeah.
You know, on Christmas, I'm making like $22 or $23 an hour, you know, which really helped pay off my credit card. But,
yeah,
you know, and I was like, look, it's, you know, people who don't want to do it, I get it. You know, I understand. There's a lot of people who work that don't want to work on those days. I totally get it, you know. But there are also people who don't give a shit about working on those days, you know? And again, the stores wouldn't want to be open if people didn't come in, you know? Yeah. Like I said, I always used to have people come into the video store and I can't believe you're open today. It's like, assholes, like you were the reason we're open. You know, if you just were like, hey, I'm not going to buy from you guys today, they wouldn't open on that because there's no money. They're not going to pay people to stand around an empty store, you know? Which kind of leads me to the real reason that I feel that these stores are going to close on Thanksgiving, because it's a great PR move. Because people go, they're doing the right thing. I'm going to shop there. And then Black Friday comes and they're going to make all their money anyway, right?
Yeah.
What they've just done is eliminate a whole day of holiday pay per store.
That too, yeah.
You know, and that's a huge, huge plus for them. You know, don't get me wrong. Like, if they were going to make money that they wouldn't make otherwise, they wouldn't care. But they're not. They're going to just, you know, that money will just roll to Black Friday or Cyber Monday or whatever. You know, it's not like people aren't going to spend money because they're shut down that one day. You know, they're still going to go spend that money. And
now that is assuming that they offer any benefits to their employees.
That is true. Yeah, true enough. Yeah. Because like I said, you know, with me, we had on Thanksgiving, we usually had about 8 to 10 employees scheduled that day, you know, and most of them were probably making $10 to $15 an hour, you know. So, you know, and each person's working like an 8-hour shift, basically. A couple worked like 4 or 6 hours, but, you know, so it's like, that's one store, you know, and then when you look at the whole chain of a place, you know, smaller businesses is a different story. They're closing because they, you know, they feel that's the right thing to do. Corporations, it's like, it's always about the bottom line. It's
Oh, yeah.
always about it. And like I said, they get a good PR move out of it, and they don't have to pay that overhead.
Yep.
So now they come out, even better in the end. I mean, maybe there's somebody with a conscience that's like, hey, let's let people be with their families, but I doubt it. They're open every other day, basically. So, yeah.
There was a friend of mine asked us like this last weekend, oh, what are you doing? This is Friday night. I'm like, what are you doing tonight? Oh, I'm going to a tree lighting ceremony. And it's not even Thanksgiving yet. I'm like, right? Are you serious?
I know. They can't wait till like the Friday or like Saturday after or something to do it. Yeah.
And Thanksgiving's early this year.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
It's not the last week. It's the, but I'm like, what harm?
Yeah.
Still.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like, you see like, I forgot who it was, but I saw a thing yesterday or the day before saying that the place was going to have Black Friday deals this weekend, And I'm like, geez. I mean, last year they were pushing it back a little bit. It's like, man, they keep going. It's going to be like November 1st is going to be, you might as well just consider it. Yeah.
That was my the reason I went to Home Depot and bought my appliances because Black Friday started November 1st. And like all their advertising was Black Friday, Christmassy, starting November 1st.
Right.
Like appliances for the next 3 weeks.
Wow. Yeah, I heard that Target, if you have one of their red cards, like that you could go the day before Thanksgiving, I think it is, and get some Black Friday, like the Friday deals, Obviously, certain ones that are like, TVs for dirt cheap, they're not going to let people just casually walk in and get. They're going to make you have to like kill someone and,
Exactly, yeah. Well, you have to rape, pillage, murder, mob, stampede.
Yep.
Yeah, to get a real deal.
Yeah.
This is like actually faux Friday.
Yeah.
Faux Black Friday. It's like, oh, well, you can come in and avoid being trampled to death.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the deal isn't as good, but the bonus is you avoid trampling, face punches, tug of war.
Yeah.
It's up to you.
I'll be honest, though, that would work on me. Because I'd be like, I don't have to deal with all that garbage. Even if I save 20% less, okay. My time is worth something to me and my mental health is worth something to me,
Oh, that's, yeah.
Because screw that other stuff, man. I've been in Black Friday lines and I've worked on Black Friday and, and Best Buy, which, what a nightmare. The video stores weren't too bad, because on that day you might sell some movies. Other than that, it's just a normal day,
Yeah.
But Best Buy was a whole different ball game.
Oh yeah, I enjoy going into the Best Buy later in the day because I'm not generally looking for what they're selling, like what's super cheap anyway.
Right.
But it's just fun going in there and just seeing the carnage.
Yeah. Yeah, because like for me, it was usually like, oh, they have a video game $20 off, or some garbage like that they've got like 100 of them, or and you're just like, I'll be able to walk in and get this no problem. Because you're right, it's like I'm not gonna fight a line or camp out 6 days before to try to get a TV or something. Screw that noise. Yeah, just not worth it.
Yeah, no, it's not. Yeah, and that even the quote unquote Black Friday deal that they were doing.
Yeah.
It was like, they had stuff on sale and it was legitimately for sale. Like they had, like I picked up the refrigerator we got. It was literally like $280 less than it was.
Oh, wow.
Before, because I looked at it.
Yeah.
Right. And so they had legit prices. Like they were selling like $700 or $800 refrigerators for $500,
right.
$500 or $600.
Like didn't pull the old Toys R Us move, mark stuff up and then give you a discount.
But so what their deal was is like, okay, buy two appliances, save $60. Buy 3, you save $80, but as always, fine print, which ones are you buying, and so it wasn't for the brand that I wanted, but oh well.
Mm-hmm.
But still, it was like, but here's the best part. This is amazing. I gotta love this. So, Home Depot is a little over an hour drive from me.
Okay. Wow. Really? That's the closest one, huh?
Oh yeah.
I've got a Home Depot literally 5 minutes from my house and a Lowe's. Like they're right across the street from each other.
And to tell you the truth, actually, Best Buy actually has a lot of great appliances, but the Twin Falls Best Buy doesn't do appliances because it's small. I have to go to Boise 2 hours away.
Okay.
Well, I don't have a truck anymore.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I need to get this thing delivered. Well, Home Depot will deliver to my house for $65.
Yep.
Both appliances. That's a smoking deal.
Yeah. 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 We usually try to, like, either, depends on how much you're spending, of course. Some of the places will do a, free delivery if it's over X dollars or whatever. But, those aren't as common as they used to be. That used to be a selling point, is to be like free. Yeah. They take the old one away and deliver your new one. So a lot of people would be like, sweet. And they'll hook it up unless it has a gas line. Then, for safety reasons, they won't do it. So, like when we got our washer and dryer here, they delivered them for nothing, and we didn't have them take the old ones because the old ones still worked. So we gave them to, some other people. So, but yeah, that's still pretty strong considering the distance and stuff. That's
exactly.
Yeah.
So they what's kind of cool is they do trips up here, on the regular is basically what it is. And, like every Tuesday or whatever it is that they do Tuesdays and Thursdays twice a week. So
okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, got to give that up. But yeah, still that whole, like they had the whole Christmas section up at Home Depot.
Yeah. Yeah, I was in Target last night and they've got all the Christmas candy out now and all the, the stocking stuffer things and all that. That's all up. And we've been at a couple other stores and they've already got like a bunch of excess toys like up on the top of the shelves, for restocking and stuff. And it's like, they're ready. Like it's, normally you wouldn't see that stuff until this week, like today, or like tomorrow, Tuesday, that kind of thing, because they don't want to, if it's going to be in an ad, they want to make sure they have some of it,
Yeah.
Otherwise they'll get accused of bait and switch or lying to get people in or whatever, So yeah, it's something though. I was out last night with my brother and you can already tell we were in the Target over by him is much busier than the Target over here by me. And we were in the one by him last night, and, normally there's a good amount of people in there. It's a big Target. They just remodeled the thing, so, it's attracting more people too.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of people in, like, the toy section. And listening to them as they were walking around, they were talking about, like, the stuff they were buying. You could look at the cart and go, that's Christmas stuff,
Yeah.
Whether it's because they're taking it with them this week for Thanksgiving or whatever the reason, it's like they're already buying and the stuff's not really on sale yet.
That's a good point because that's like the bringing stuff along with you. Like if you're traveling and just bringing it for Thanksgiving, and that's what my mom would do.
Yeah.
Like if I'm driving to, she's gonna go buy all the stuff and give it to me, so I just drive back with it.
Yeah. Yep. It makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, like
Can't
I said,
really
I don't.
that one.
No. Like that's why I said it. It's like whatever the reason, it's I mean that's good. I'm glad it's because that's the kind of stuff I look for when people talk about like the economy being wherever. That's the kind of stuff I look for. Because when the economy was down a few years ago, there was nobody in the stores until Black Friday because they wanted to save every penny they could save.
Every penny, yeah.
This year, I don't think people are caring quite as much. Don't get me wrong, there's plenty that still do, but But like I said, I saw Lego sets going out of that place yesterday, full price Lego sets, Not that Lego will be that discounted. They don't,
No, they won't be, but still,
Yeah.
that's expensive.
Right. Most of the time people still will wait, but a lot of them I think are like, I'm going to get it now so I know I get it, I've known people to do that before where like whatever the big item their kid wants for the year, they'll just get that ahead of time and then try to save on the other stuff because they just want to make sure they get the big thing, Like I know Target's doing a PlayStation 4 with the new Spider-Man game for $200. And,
I saw that. Yeah.
And I think GameStop's doing it too. And it's like there's going to be people waiting in line for those because, that's $100 off. And like I said, the game's a $60 game still,
Yeah, yeah.
It's a few weeks old or a couple months old, whatever it is, but it's still a $60 game, So, stuff like that is like, that's the kind of stuff that it's like, even if I didn't have one, I'd be like, I'm not waiting for that.
Yeah.
I'll just pay more later and deal with it. But I actually saw somebody arguing at Target with the woman there because she wanted the Black Friday deal last night. And the woman there was like, first of all, we don't have, that bundle or whatever, she's like, they probably do. It's probably in the back room till, a couple of days, but they can't put it out. But this woman was getting mad, and the woman's like,
wow.
I can't, and the woman's like, well, you can let me take this PlayStation and, and get the game and you can just give me that price. And she's like, I can't give you that much off of something. It's $100 off, off the system. That's without the game, but just the system is $100 off, And, the woman's like, well, she's like, I'm going to take my business elsewhere. And the woman working the counter's like, okay.
Okay, exactly.
What's she going to do? There's no way a manager's going to let you get that. That's too much.
Yeah.
If it was $10 or something, maybe you could get a manager to be like, you know what, screw it, give it to him, But we're talking, like I said, at least $100. There's no way, So, yeah. For any of you listening that are going out shopping, do your best to be kind to other people, especially the people who work at the stores. You think it's a nightmare for you shopping? Go work retail one Christmas. It's horrible. I've done, like I said, I worked Black Friday for eight straight years, and the video stores, I was so happy when I got into there because they didn't have, Black Friday didn't affect us, like I said,
Yeah.
At Best Buy, we had people lined up way out the door.
That just scares me.
Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Just anyone that's that dedicated is willing to get down with some freaky, and fucking knife some bitches.
Yeah. Well, you see it every year. There's always someone.
It's just building up, right? Yeah. The anticipation is just building. You've been in that line, You've been in that line for so long. When somebody's fucking wife or kids show up to like step up to their husband at the front of the line, people start to tensions rise.
Yeah. Oh man, if you really want to see tensions rise, see somebody who thinks that someone is cutting in line.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
When I worked at Best Buy, we had to escort a couple guys out because they were we thought they were going to get into a fight.
Jeez.
Because the one guy got, and he was like saying his buddy saved his place or whatever. And we're like, yeah, it doesn't work that way. So both of you, get out of here. But yeah, every year you see it, there's always videos of some asshole or a group of people just trampling somebody. And it's like, come on. It's like, we shouldn't be that attached to things.
To stuff.
Yeah. Like that we would harm another person so that we can get to a Turbo Man doll before they do. It's a little Jingle All the Way reference already. Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, enough of that ranting. But yeah, like I said, just, be kind to people the best you can. And like I said, especially the workers at the stores. Even if they seem like they're an idiot to you, you don't know what they've been through that day,
Yeah.
So
you can pummel each other gently.
Yeah. Pummel each other with hugs.
Yeah. Respect.
Only if they're consensual though.
Yeah. So exactly. Consensual hugs. Unless you say surprise, then you're okay.
I don't think it works that way.
No, it does. I know. Yeah. Surprise. Pummel.
Yeah. Yeah. It's likely to get you hit. Oh man. Yep. So I think, that's all the stuff I had to talk about. So we already did the shut up and take my money. So
yeah, already jumped ahead. Yeah.
Let's do some Dude Mountain then, I guess.
All right.
Lord, tell me Dude Mountain.
love it.
Now, looking at those on the bottom and going back to weeks 6 through 10, clearly Gaga James has left the base of the mountain and is not even, I mean, I don't even know.
It's either that or they're like Tony and I have theorized that they just drowned in the frothy, broth down there.
You know what it is? I'm imagining like a Matrix kind of a scenario where down the chute,
Yeah.
and right.
Took
the red pill or whichever pill, one of the pills.
Yeah.
So I almost feel like with all those goose eggs in a row.
Yeah.
It's like he's actually like
disqualified.
Well,
Disqualified.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
No, I'm actually kind of thinking he can still participate. Like he's not in the broth. He's like of the broth.
Yeah.
Right. He's just been absorbed.
Okay.
Because there's just so many zeros. Now, this brings us to the next from the bottom, the USS Mangravy, who has also out of the last 5 weeks has put up 2 scores. But the last 2 weeks, there's been 0, no submissions.
Dang it, Dev! What are you doing?
Yeah, so I'm almost thinking that Dev right now is like in mid molt into the broth.
Yeah,
like he's kind of like starting to mend.
I feel it. Someone sunk the battleship.
Yes, they did.
USS Mangravy is going under.
And now he's gravy.
Now it is. Yep.
Now that brings us to our third place from the bottom. Like this, I think he actually achieves power bottom status because he's legitimately at the bottom because even though he missed 2 weeks, he decided to jump back in.
Yeah.
Now, I think that takes some fucking balls. You're like, you know what? I stepped away for a couple of weeks. Nope. I'm still in this.
That's right.
Neil Tom Jovi.
Yeah.
Who obviously he was on vacation, so he didn't submit, but he came back at week 10.
Right.
And threw in a pick.
Yeah.
So I really think he's the true power bottom right now of Dude Mountain.
Makes sense. Now we know why he glistens the way he does.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Precisely.
Yeah. All right.
So back up to the lofty heights. Oh, by the way, one little fun fact. We were talking about anyone that's done 12, like my dogs who did 12 and have since then shit themselves ever since.
Yeah.
Like, talk about not even fair to Midland. You're just like in the fucking bottom.
Yeah.
You little fucks. Anyhow, we've had 2 11s.
Yeah.
And they haven't been brought up. That in week 9, the old Barry McCockiner and Mr. Jackal both had 11s.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, which is a very good week.
Yeah, I think that's worth notification. Because that's not easy.
No, it isn't, especially against the spread.
Yeah, exactly. So number 3, we've got Besotted Geek, who also tried to dive down to the level of my fucking hounds, and has given up the top spot with a few weeks of blah.
Right.
And then our number 2 is Barry McCockiner, who has actually had some solid numbers for not being a gimmick team.
Right.
Right. I mean, that from week 6 through 10, he had a 6, a 9, an 8, 11, and a 7.
Yeah.
That's
some
solid numbers. However, neither of them compare to the Madden 16 picks.
Right. Which has been pretty consistent.
10, 9, 9, 7, and 9.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Right.
Like, not even, you think maybe a 6 in there maybe once?
No.
Like, even hit double digits. So, yeah, solid. Our top out of our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, out of our top 6, 3 of them are gimmick teams.
Right. Which I
now,
love.
the only thing that the only thing that helps me with my two dogs is that your actual pick team is tied.
Yeah.
But you actually had a pretty good, you had a 99886. Those are good numbers.
What's really interesting too is my picks do not line up with, the Madden picks. And because of the spread, it works out that we had similar numbers on some of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was kind of weird because one of the weeks, I think at one point we both had 8. And I was like, there's no way I picked the same as, cause, every week there's at least one game that the Madden game picks. And I'm like, you're crazy. Nah. Yeah. But it was really funny because, this past week when I was looking at the scores of the games and then looking at the actual scores of the games, it was fairly close on a good chunk of the games. Like the Seattle Green Bay game, it nailed.
Oh my God.
Nailed it. Like the 3-point difference, and it was a 2.5 point spread, and that game nailed the exact score. So it's wild. Well,
very few people going into, since we're recording this prior to Sunday, so for that set of picks, it's like very few people got that one because of that.
Yeah. I totally forgot to put my pick in. But I would have been,
really?
Yeah, I was going to go Green Bay though, so I would have been wrong. So it doesn't matter in the end.
Yeah.
If I would have been going Seattle, I'd be mad at myself, but whatever.
Yeah. So your Madden 16 got it right. Basada Geek did. Then a few in the middle.
Mm.
And then Gotham White Staff, but everyone else got Thursday nights wrong.
Yeah. It's tough, like 2.5 point spreads. Like I noticed there was quite a few this week that were around 3-4 points. Those point spreads, it's perfect for Vegas because they're basically a coin toss,
Yeah.
And that's their goal the whole time is to get the betting as even as possible so they hedge their losses,
Yeah.
So that it's interesting if you look at the point spreads early and then you watch them, it's like they tighten up because, more about the teams as the season goes on. So they tighten up. And now the teams that are really good pretty much. And, but a lot of those spreads this week, when I saw them, I was like, whew, this is going to be a tough week to pick. So we'll see how it turns out.
Yeah, because there was like you said, there were a few. I mean, there have been some massive point spreads.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, I mean, last week you had the Chiefs 16.5.
Yeah.
Lord.
Right?
Yeah.
And they did not cover, but they got 12? I think they won by 12 or something like that.
So, they did. Yep.
Yeah. So they weren't 12. Too far off, but still didn't cover.
So there you have it, everybody. Thanks for joining us on the slippery, slidey climb of Dude Mountain.
Dude!
Love it.
Yeah, I got to fix that one and send it to Tony again.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten around to it.
Maybe he'll actually do something with it this time. Oh, you know what? I had one more thing to mention before we get to the Q the W. I follow this account that's called Wrestling Botch or Wrestle Botch or Botch Wrestling. I forgot what it is, but it basically they post videos of guys that like screw up in wrestling, and some of them are hilarious. Some of them you're like, holy shit, how are they not paralyzed? So it just depends, but they posted, or maybe it was another account, whatever. Anyway, someone I follow on Instagram posted, there's an account that the name of it is Bud_light there, or light here, I'm sorry. Like here is in this room. And this guy takes pictures, he reenacts famous, scenes from wrestling history with toys, and then takes pictures of them. And if you're a wrestling nerd, you'll probably find this really cool. If you're not, you probably won't find this as cool. But it's been a real fun follow because like when I see them, it's like I know and I appreciate like they go to really good detail to try to get everything right around it. Like even the little signs that are hanging up and stuff, they try to get those right. So, you know, whoever's doing that is doing a fine job. So, there you go.
That's outstanding.
Yeah. That's why I said, you know, if you're not a wrestling nerd, you're probably not so much going to appreciate it. You might, though, because it's still good work, you know?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah. I think they've done other stuff, too. Like, they did a Halloween one with Michael Myers standing out front of the house. Yeah, and I forgot, there was something else I remember seeing somewhere, but most of it, I mean, almost all of it is wrestling. Oh, there's a He-Man one. And yeah, so I'll leave the link to that in the show notes. Or again, it's on Instagram, bud_light here.
That's awesome.
Yeah. All right, let's do some Q the W.
Yes.
Whew. All right, so last week I asked, I forgot already. Oh, what is the one thing you'll never understand why it's legal? Oh, actually, hold on. We got to do our tradition first, which is I got to look at the Assumption Church question. This is actually one we should, if we were doing the crazy life, this would fit. Because their question is, in what ways do you show gratitude to others?
That would be a crazy life.
Right. On this show, the answer is a firm, open hand slap on the hiney.
Absolutely.
No, I'm kidding.
Or a cup check.
Right. Oof. Yikes. Haven't had one of those in a long time, and I'm glad. Okay, so yeah, again, what is one thing you'll never understand why it's legal? And do you just want to say your answer, Heno, instead of me reading it, or do you want me to read it?
I'll go ahead and read it.
Okay. Heno says, nicotine should be a controlled substance and churches shouldn't be tax exempt. I agree with you on that.
And if anybody's noticing my pattern that I'm mentioning churches quite often in my Q the W answers.
I thought you were just going to start talking about cigarettes all the time.
Yeah, that when you guys brought that up, like, you know, like right away, like cigarettes, like how's that? That's one of my biggest ones. Like, how the fuck is nicotine not a controlled substance?
Yeah.
By this point,
Mm-hmm.
It is one of. I mean, the quality. It's a pesticide,
right?
It's a fucking pesticide.
Well, and the part I can't get over is
and people are smoking it.
Yeah.
And crack is illegal.
Yeah. Right. Well, and marijuana was illegal for how long? It's like, come on.
It's like, Jesus.
Yeah. That's what everybody that I know that's still fighting to not let weed be legalized. It's like, dude, alcohol and cigarettes are legal. There's no reason you can give me that weed shouldn't be. I'm sorry. Yeah. You just can't.
I mean, you pour liquid nicotine on your skin and it could kill you. I mean, it's like,
perfect. That's what I like to do.
Why is this? Yeah, anyhow.
Yeah, yeah. And the other part is...
Off the soapbox.
Yeah. And the other part is just because it would generate so much tax money.
Oh my God, you know.
So
fucking
much.
bleed. Especially, you know what? It really doesn't... I don't really care about the little fucking Baptist church that's down the corner, right?
Yeah.
What I care about is the Latter-day Saints church that has a fucking football and a softball field, a few blocks away from me that are empty all the time.
Oh,
the public can't even go over there and use it. It's a massive softball field.
Wow.
It's a waste of land, and the only reason they have it is because they don't have to pay any property taxes.
Wow. Yeah,
and that's the one that gets me, and the mega churches and all that shit.
Yeah, exactly. If they let the public use it, I wouldn't mind it as much. You know?
No, I wouldn't.
Because then at least it's contributing something to the community in that sense.
We're subsidizing them. Why shouldn't we be able to use it? Right?
Yeah, I'm with you, man.
I mean, just like the mega churches, with their giant halls, it's like, bring some rock concerts in. We're subsidizing you.
Yeah.
Allow some promoters to bring some fucking death metal in there.
That'd be awesome. Who doesn't want? Yeah.
I mean, shit. Tell me you don't want to see Slayer in a church.
Yeah.
Like, how fucking awesome would that be?
It would be pretty strange.
to see like Ghost in a church.
That would be the one that would really, you talk about causing some controversy. That would certainly stir up some
It would be great.
iron. Yeah. Yep. Nope. Like I said, I agree with you on both of those points. I've been that way for years. And it isn't so much like, look, I mean, full disclosure, my dad died of lung cancer. He smoked for a long time, blah, 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 but it's just, I just don't understand how it's legal. And it's not just that. There's a whole thing. We could talk for 2 more hours on just the stuff that's legal, that's in our foods and different stuff. That's like, how is this?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, that was the only one I have on Twitter here.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Wow. And none on Facebook. So, I guess I'll go to the emails. And Fluffy Bunny Ash says, handguns and semi-auto rifles. I'm willing to accept hunting rifles and shotguns because farmers exist in Aboriginal and homesteader communities that rely on hunting, and bears are a thing. But handguns and semi-auto rifles are made for killing humans. Tell yourself whatever twisted NRA-approved propaganda you want to deny the fact, but it's true. Also true is no amount of loud bangs is going to make your penis bigger.
The handgun thing I can't go with just because bears.
Yeah.
I am not.
Yeah.
If I'm up in Alaska, I'm bringing a freaking 44 with me, and
Yeah.
I'm unloading the whole fucking thing into its brain.
Yeah.
Until it stops.
Yeah.
Because it won't.
Right.
It'll just get more angry until you've unloaded half the clip.
Yeah.
I see
seen
legitimate reasons for handguns.
I've also seen like different TV shows where like on a farm or whatever, like coyotes are getting under the fence and stuff. And, again, to, protect yourself from a coyote or to protect your animals or whatever. So yeah, that one's a tougher one. The semi-automatic rifles, I'm totally on board with her, but, the handguns are a little different.
If you're on a farm and you have an animal that gets hurt or injured or something, you need to dispatch it. You can carry your rifle with you and stuff like that, but most people just have a sidearm.
Yeah.
And they deal with it. And,
Yeah, so. Exactly. Yep. All right. So Cheeto Bandito says, well, for some people, I'm going to say reproduction. So some people just shouldn't reproduce. For others, I'm going to say breathing. Some motherfuckers don't deserve to breathe. In general, I guess I would say I find it hard to believe that, in my state, it is legal for a man to have sex with an animal as long as the animal does not exceed 40 pounds. This is atrocious. I mean, what if I get drunk and want to go hogging? That means it's going to be illegal for me to take a chubby home. And on that, sirs, I call bullshit.
Hogging.
Well played, Cheeto.
Oh, that's funny. I'm just going to go right to...
I like what you got. Good job.
Oh, man.
Wow. hogging.
Yep.
More seductive than sex.
Macho Man was a fan of the hogging, apparently. Who knew?
Oh, yeah, he was.
I would have assumed Hillbilly Jim, but,
What are you doing tonight? Going hogging?
Yeah. What's hogging? Don't worry about it. I'll send you a text in the morning. Oh, man. Yeah, there's a lot of those kind of laws on the books, though, too, about what is illegal and what isn't legal, that there's so many ridiculous ones, which I'm sure everybody's heard by now. If you haven't, look some up. Yeah. There's some freaking great ones.
Odd laws still on the books. Stuff that goes back to the 1800s that they've just never gotten rid of.
Like if you curse in front of a lady, you can spend the night in jail, like stuff like that,
Well, and it's not, even some of the ones like we have, just the ones where, you still cannot get hard alcohol in a bar on election day.
Oh, yeah. Right.
And it's just it goes back to the old fact that it was a you voted in the public house.
Right.
And so they figured it's probably better that everyone wasn't just getting hammered, and we still you can't get hard alcohol on Christmas here too.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Which is another one where it's like, how hard is it to just get rid of that one? I mean, come on,
I at this point, I don't understand us having any of those laws. It's like, again, it's like if it's legal the rest of the week, like the Sunday laws here and stuff where they couldn't serve before a certain time or no hard liquor sales on Sundays or, it's like, okay, I'll just buy it on Saturday. I mean, what difference does it make? I mean, so yeah, there's a lot of that kind of stuff.
Like bingo games can't last more than 5 hours in North Carolina.
Right?
Chickens are not allowed to cross the road in Quitman, Georgia.
Well, that's a good one, though. I'd keep that one.
Oh, this one's good. It's against the law to sing off key in North Carolina.
So no karaoke in North Carolina, huh?
Oh, my God. You may not sell toothpaste and a toothbrush to the same customer on a Sunday, Rhode Island.
What? What? But if they got toothpaste, they need a toothbrush. Well, I mean, you can use your finger or something, but I mean.
All right, I got one here for you. You are not allowed to eat fried chicken any other way than using your hands. Gainesville, Georgia.
Okay, I'm behind that one.
I know, I kind of am.
Yeah.
If I see some douchebag with a fork and a knife getting into a drumstick.
Yeah.
You should, you know what? It should just be, getting slapped up the head should be, upside the head should be allowed.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're not,
Right. They shouldn't even bring silverware. Here's your plate of fried chicken. If you have sides, I guess you need silverware, but if they put them in small bowls, you can just, pour them in your face, whatever.
This is great. Marriage between cousins is against the law only if they are younger than 65 in Utah.
So over 65.
So once you get 65, you can finally go hog wild.
All bets are off.
With your cousin.
You just picture there's two cousins sitting there just watching the clock.
Just waiting for the clock.
Come on. I've been waiting a long time for this. Like, what the fuck?
Well, here's an interesting one. It's forbidden for a female to appear unshaven in public in Carrizoso, New Mexico.
Okay. Does that mean unshaven at all, or?
I just appeared to be unshaven.
Okay.
So,
So no Sasquatches.
Let's see. You may not take a picture of a rabbit from January to April without an official permit in Wyoming.
Wow.
Bear wrestling matches are prohibited in Alabama.
That's bullshit. If I want to wrestle a bear, I should be able to wrestle a bear. I know what I'm getting myself into.
It's illegal to attend a public event or use public transport within 4 hours of eating onions or garlic in Indiana. I'm calling bullshit on that one.
Oh, man. That'd be great if that was true. I just want to see someone get pulled off a bus.
Okay, here's an Idaho one. It's illegal for a man to give his fiancée a box of candy that weighs more than 50 pounds.
Okay.
What the fuck is
Here's the best part, okay? When they make these laws, it's just like the warnings on things. There was clearly a reason for that to be made. Yeah. So what the hell how many guys were giving their sweethearts 50 plus pounds of candy? I mean, damn. Also, it says box, right?
Yes.
So if I put it, no. What if I put it in a bag?
So we got a couple here for our Washington friends who you cannot buy meat of any kind on Sunday. I just don't. I mean, I don't get that one. And here's the other one from Washington that I'm just like, I'm not sure. A motorist with criminal intentions must stop at the city limits and telephone the chief of police as he is entering town.
Can I speak to the chief, please? Yeah, I'm gonna, come into your town and, cause some ruckus.
Just letting you know.
Just letting you know. What the? Okay. I'm gonna rob the bank.
Okay. This one is just so good if it's true. It's against the law for a woman to drive a car on Main Street unless her husband is walking in front of the car waving a red flag in Waynesboro, Virginia.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Oh, and lastly, because Washington just can't get any better, you can be arrested or fined for harassing Bigfoot.
Well, I mean, that's understandable.
come on.
Yeah. For as much money as Bigfoot makes that area, I mean, I understand it.
I don't know if those are true, but they're funny.
Yeah. Ohio should have that kind of law, too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, as is the tradition for Cue the W's here, I've got 30 different ones. So
30 now? Wow.
Yeah, I added some more today. So
let's go with 7.
7. All right. Now, okay. This
7. 7-11.
This one will actually, oh my goodness. This one will take you back to your moving the needle days. I'm pretty sure you guys did this one. What's a popular TV show you can't stand? Didn't we just do this one? I feel like we did this one not too long ago. No, it was the opposite way. Like, what's a show that's not popular that you loved? That's what it was. We did that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so what's a popular TV show that you can't stand? I feel like the most answered one here is going to be Big Bang Theory.
That's weird how it just jumped into my head, but I don't watch it, so I don't know why I would say that.
Yeah, I've seen
why
enough that I don't like it, but yeah.
Like I every time I've looked at it, I've been like, meh. But I've literally never watched an episode, so it's kind of.
Yeah, so
that was my initial
one.
answer, but I didn't feel like I should say that since I've,
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Well, I have never watched any of and they are the most popular television shows on TV are the all the singing freaking shows. Like
the
I
Voice and all
them.
that stuff. Yeah.
The Voice. Yeah. Like the Voice. Let's just use The Voice. That is probably like, cause I look at ratings for Gotham. I get to see how many tens of millions of people watch that. Well, it's always over 10 million easily, but like there are 15, 16 million people watching that show.
Yeah.
That's live. That's not even the, picking up the, DVR shit a week later, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And I absolutely can't stand those shows.
Why is that, out of curiosity? You just don't like them, or is there a reason, like certain reason?
I think some of it comes under the cringe flick thing. I don't like cringe flicks.
Okay.
Like I not that they're bad movies or good movies, but like anything that Ben Stiller does typically, that type of where somebody's the butt of every joke. And it's the fact that there's just people up there that get made fun of and it's done on purpose.
Okay.
They bring somebody bad up there on purpose. Now there's also amazing. But it also kind of ties into the whole child performer stuff. I don't know. I don't like the whole format at all.
Okay. I can get behind that. I was just curious because it's like, I like hearing the good singers. Like, I like hearing the people sing, but I can't stand the rest of the show. Like, if you just showed me an hour of the people singing, I'd be okay. Like, not the shitty ones, but the, but the that's, the rest of the show.
Part of it too. Yeah. The rest of the show is also like, I don't give a fuck.
Right.
Like, I really don't.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I do. The thing though, like, you're right. There's like nothing better than like you tune into YouTube, you pull on YouTube because somebody sends you the link about this guy who, his mom, something or other and said he should really do this. And, he finally gets up there and he sings and he wows everybody and blah, blah, blah this. And it feels so good, cause whatever, his mom's going to die tomorrow or something. And, they really get you in the feels.
Yeah.
But then you look the guy up on Wikipedia and you find out the guy's been doing this shit for like 20 years.
Yeah. There's that too.
He's just never broke loot, he's never just broke out, but he's literally made a living singing.
Yeah. He's not famous, but he's made a living. Exactly. Yeah.
And that's where I'm like,
because most of them, the intent was to discover people, but it's not, I mean, you know for a fact from the beginning it's not, because reality show, you know, everything is thought out. People get sent home because of, you know, what the producers think a lot of times, not because of this or that. Or the producers have, like, the people's vote has X amount of percentage of the vote, basically, and then the producers, you know, and the judges or whatever. So it's like, No, I'm good. I'm good without those shows too. Again, it's like, I love hearing people sing. I love music, you know?
Oh yeah.
I just, you know, and it would bother me even less, like, oh shit, what show was that? Can't remember. Like, CBS had one where it was like, it was called like Rockstar or something like that, right? And the idea of it I liked, but it was like, if the idea was like a band looking for a frontman or a woman, and the band were sitting there kind of critiquing people, I'd be like,
did that on MTV.
Yeah, it's like that I could be into, because the band's actually going, it doesn't really fit our style. You know, like, they're just giving their honest situation. And like the ones like The Voice and stuff, it's like they're all the help people, the coaches they're more concerned with winning, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, the whole point of that show was to get good singers who wouldn't normally get picked. But if you look at a lot of the winners of that show, they're all really good looking people. So you've defeated the purpose of the show. Not that it'd be all ugly, but you know, it's like, I don't know.
Well, that's why I think the more the talent show kind of format is actually a little more fun, because you do get people that are just up there to just make a mockery of themselves and they don't care. Yeah. And it's kind of hilarious. And then you have this person that would never be picked because, you know, of how they look, and they go up there and they excel. And I mean, that at least I can appreciate a little more. Yeah. I still don't like them because there's just the cringe factor. Yeah. But like when In Excess, they did that. That's
who I was trying to think of. Yes.
It was great.
Yeah, it was Rockstar In Excess, I think is what the show was called. Yep. That's the one I was trying to think of.
Yeah, and that was pretty fun. I actually liked So You Think You Can Dance. Mm-hmm. I watched like the first few seasons of that because I think there's just something about the various different styles and the physicality of it. Sure. And I even liked Dancing with the Stars. Just because I thought it was kind of fun. Yeah. You know, because they're being silly, they're enjoying themselves, and there's not like,
and a lot of them that really is outside of their range. Like, even though athletes have done well on there because they do learn footwork in sports, but a lot of them have had no formal dancing training, and they've, but even then they'll talk about like, man, that was the hardest thing I've ever done. Yeah, because the muscles, you're really using are different. Yeah, so it's I can get behind that too. That's the thing is I like watching this stuff. I just could do without the competition part of it, honestly. Like each week,
no, it's true. It is.
Just put a show on where some great singers. I'd be happy.
Yeah, well, because it also brings me back to like Miss America pageants and any sort of that kind of competition where people really get fucked up. Yeah. Like they're mentally put into places where it's like, okay, it's not that big of a deal. Right. And that was the one thing. So, Linda, 4 Non-Blondes. Oh God, I'm forgetting her name. That's Linda. Oh, I'm an idiot. I can't. Anyhow, all y'all hearing it in the background yelling at me. I can hear you. Anyhow, she did her own show that I loved. And it was the antithesis of The Voice. It was not about becoming the greatest singer. It was about making a living with your voice. It was about getting people and it was about producing talent to be the voiceover person for a commercial, or to be the background singer in a band, or to be the, and it was really about getting people off of this whole, I have to be the center of attention, and if I don't make it like this, I'm never gonna make it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So, and I really loved it because it came from Linda Perry. That's
okay, yeah.
It happens to be married to what's her name from Sarah Gilbert. Yeah, they stayed at our place one time. It was really kind of cool. Interesting. And Sarah Gilbert was like very pregnant. It was like, whoa, okay, wow, like, whew. That's like a double bun in the oven. They already had one daughter. But yeah, there was just something about it that was so just the purpose of it and everything about it.
If nothing else, it's more realistic, you know?
Well, that was the whole thing.
Like, if you shoot for making a living as a musician, that's an achievable goal for a lot of musicians, you know? Yeah. Being famous in world tours, that's, you know, that you got to get into that upper percentage.
That's it.
You know?
It's that 0.5%. Yeah.
Like you can make money, you know, have a nice career as like a basketball player, but you're never Michael Jordan, you know?
Exactly.
But you'll go team to team and you just always have a job. You know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that the idea of what happens to people when they really, really have set their lives on this one particular trajectory, and then to see them get crushed and then never want to be part of it again. Yeah. And that was their thing is like, you know, this is not worth it.
No, I agree with you.
You can spend the rest of your life doing what you love and not have, you know, a lot of the anguish that comes with it. So.
Well, and there's something also to be said for the fact that you also don't have the stress of that to go with it either. I mean, you have your own set of stresses, don't get me wrong, or stressors, you know, like you might actually worry about how I'm going to pay the rent, you know, versus, you know, like, oh, I'm tired of traveling all the time or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, I know what you're saying. I saw a commercial, was it a couple nights ago? There's going to be one of these damn singing shows, I believe it is, where the person's going to wear a mask. It's basically, they're just doing the same idea as The Voice. Instead of having people with their backs turned, they're just going to be wearing a mask, apparently. So I'm like, okay, well, if they all come out dressed like luchadors, I'm in. But otherwise, I'm like, come on, really? What I honestly would have loved is a show like The Voice, if they were going to try to be as pure as possible. What I wish they could have done was basically just put a wall up to where the audience and the judges never see the person. And they just sing. And then at the end, they reveal the person. You know? Yeah. That way, okay, that's a little different, you know, because now you really are just judging them on their sound, you know? Versus, you know, like I said, there's a lot of them that get on there that, you know, there was a few years ago on The Voice, there was this kid that was, I don't know, he was like 15 or 14 that won it. And like when it got down to like the final 6 or something like that, I remember looking at my mom going, he's going to win because he's going to get the teenage girl vote. And he did. He just crushed it all the way through. And he wasn't the best singer. You know, there were better singers on that tour, but it was like, you could just look at him and go, this kid's going to get the votes, you know? And that's the where the show gets flawed, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, enough of that shit.
So what's your show?
Yeah, that's what, you know, for a long time it was really funny because Seinfeld was my show for the longest time that I would have said that about. Because I had seen enough of it to kind of get the gist of it, you know? But after going back and watching Seinfeld again, where I've not watched all of it, I don't feel that way because there's a lot of shows that I hate way more than Seinfeld. And I don't even hate that show. There's some really good writing in there. I think I mentioned it on the show before. It's like, honestly, that show to me I like it better when the characters feel less Larry David. But I know how I know more people are the opposite way. Yeah. But I don't like his nervousness. I hate that. I don't like actors that do that. You know. Anyway. Man, I don't know. Cause
you know, Friends was actually like for me too.
That's a good one.
Because there was some where I'm like, this is fucking stupid.
I hate that show. Like I've never liked that show. I've watched it enough.
I never connected to it.
No, same here. That's got to be a pretty close to the top for me then.
Now, there are some good episodes, and I have watched it.
Yeah.
But the reality is I could give a fuck.
Yeah.
About that show.
Yeah, you're right. And I never related to any of the characters on that show.
Yeah.
Yeah, the life they live, none of them are anywhere near, you know, like me, you know, versus like Roseanne, where I can identify with that whole family, basically, you know. Family. So, because of, you know, how, you know, we didn't have money. On Friends, it's like, they're all affluent white people, even though they're pretending that they're not, you know? It's like, Yeah, that's the best one I can think of. I was really trying to think of something that wasn't maybe just, that big of a show, but it was like, I remember being in high school, and the day after, Friday after, that was on, that's all so many people were talking about. And I'm like, this show is stupid. Like, I don't get why you love this so much. But yeah, that one's going to be mine. Cause I have, like, I didn't like it then. I've seen episodes now and I still don't like it. Whereas Seinfeld was different. Seinfeld grew on me. And I think with that show, it was because I didn't like it originally because it wasn't an adult. Now that I'm an adult and I watch the show, more of the stuff they go through makes sense to me now. Yeah. Even though it's obviously very exaggerated. I'm still no like massive fan of the show, but I don't hate it anymore, So what's funny is I'm sure like later I'm going to be like, oh, how did I not say this, But yeah, we'll go with Friends. Because like I said, Big Bang Theory is just the easy target,
Yeah. And I really can't say, like, for me, I've never really even given it a chance.
Yeah.
Where I did give Friends a chance. And it's like, I watch it, I'm kind of like, ugh, this is ridiculous. Oh, God, there was one recently that Sharon was watching. They were running around airports trying to, I was just like, this is so fucking stupid.
Exactly. And in fairness, I did the same thing with some of the episodes of Seinfeld. Like, obviously you suspend disbelief on some stuff, but there's some of it that's like, okay, this is too far. Like, like this is, now you're just you've gone beyond funny or comedy into just ludicrous at this point, so.
Ludicrous speed.
Yeah. That's funny. I made a plaid reference on Crazy Life last time, I believe.
Yeah.
So.
You did?
Yeah.
I listened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see?
Yeah. Unlike our co-hosts.
I know, right? What is it with them?
I know.
I tell you.
Listen to their own show. I mean, seriously, it's like you just got to start talking shit about them.
Right.
And see if they realize it.
Yep. I think you're right. Mm-hmm. It is interesting. I'm curious to see what other shows people don't like.
Come up with,
If you tell us the show, please tell us why also, because these are the kind of questions I'd like the why on also.
I'm gonna try to make sure this gets up on Facebook for y'all too.
Right, like I said, like with Seinfeld or not Seinfeld, sorry, Big Bang Theory, it has been an easy mark for a lot of people, which makes sense though too, because it's the highest rated show, or was the highest rated show on TV, I mean, I just as easily could have gone with something like The Real World, because God, I hated that show. I liked the concept, but because it was a reality show and not actually a reality show, it bugged the shit out of me.
That's fun.
I would have much preferred it if they just let the people do what they do. People will come up with shit on their own. You don't need to massage that, I don't believe.
Yeah.
Especially when you're hand-picking who's going in the house. You know what I mean? Like, oh, here's a diehard Republican. Oh, here's a diehard liberal. We're going to put them in the same house. And, it's like sparks will fly.
Well, yeah. That's like that. All of those, the rehab shows and all that stuff, it's like, but to me at least, they aren't that popular.
Exactly.
Right. Like that's not that popular. They're so generational,
right.
It's so specific to a certain, age group, demographic,
right.
Like there's like, I'm talking, for me, you got to be like Will and Grace popular.
Yeah. Well, if you'd gone a few years ago, I would have said Jersey Shore. No question. Because I can't stand the people on that show. And I never understood why people like that kind of show. I never will understand it,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you're right. Like something like Will and Grace or something, Friends, Seinfeld.
At that level. Yeah.
It makes sense
to me,
because
like a Will and Grace, their characters were so good.
Yeah.
That they could literally be doing Friends storylines and they would crush it just because the characters are so good. Whereas I never really felt that strongly in the Friends character. I mean, they're funny. They're amusing caricatures.
Mm-hmm.
but there was nothing special about them to me at all. Yes, it became part of the like pop culture.
Yeah.
And the part of pop culture lexicon and this and that, just like Seinfeld did.
Yeah.
But I just never really connected with it. It was just so milquetoast to me.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I said I never connected with the characters. I didn't feel they were all that deep. So, and I'm not saying they have to be deep. I don't feel like there was much substance to the character to grab. But obviously people did, and that's fine too.
Well, there's a reason like a lot of them didn't exactly go on to do other big things.
Yeah.
The actors weren't that strong, you know, but
I mean, Matt LeBlanc's had a nice career with doing that Ed movie where, it's got the guy in the suit, the monkey suit sliding around.
Yeah.
No, actually, Matt LeBlanc is fantastic on episodes. There's a show that was on Showtime. Yeah, that was he's great as him. I mean, he's playing him an amped up version of himself, but he's so good on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. It's tough to really look at the others and kind of, But on the other side, for their sake, like, I'm sure none of them need to work money-wise, No,
they've done just
because
fine,
there's still, that show's still in syndication. It just got put on Netflix or whatever, a little while ago. So, there's just, it'll keep making money. It's like Seinfeld, like Jerry Seinfeld, after they walked away from that show, was like, he never has to work again if he doesn't want to. All of the cast was that way, They all made so much money off of DVD sales and all that stuff. But whatever. So yeah, anyways, like I said, what's a popular TV show you can't stand? And I'm going to say this, like, just to clarify, it doesn't have to be popular now. Like, just at some point it was considered popular.
Yeah, it was all the rage.
Yeah. Like, people clearly were talking about it a lot. And again, it doesn't have to be the number one show, like, I could see somebody picking, like, CSI, because, how many times can you do the same storyline? But, I'm just waiting for somebody to pull, like, a, Hill Street Blues or something. That's what I want. Fucking old pull there. Half the people listening are probably like, huh? Yeah, man.
All right, everybody.
Show me what you got.
Yep. So, all right. I guess that's a show.
That is a show, isn't it?
Yeah. So, this is the part where, we start doing all our ads. Remember audible.com/ no. I kid.
And use the promo code Stay Salty.
Right. Oh, man. So head over to saltylanguage.com. Get all the past episodes there. The enthusiasts that we've done, which we need to get some more going at some point here.
Yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it?
We haven't done one in a while. Actually, I think we're sitting on 49 if I'm not mistaken. I think our next one will be our 50th one.
50th enthusiast, wow.
Yeah, so we're kind of, we got to choose wisely, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we'll just interview ourselves.
That
would be very us.
Each other's enthusiast.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah. While you're over there, again, with the shopping season coming up, the one ad that we will ask for is if you're going to be shopping on Amazon, please swing by our site first. Click the Amazon link and it'll take you back to Amazon and you just shop away as normal. Doesn't cost you anything extra. Just a couple little clicks. And then we'll be pals. Also, while you're on there, you can see the networks we're part of, such as the Tangent Bound Network and
Danger! Watch your back! Danger!
Entertainment. So definitely go check those two out. There's links for those on the website as well. Pretty much everything I'm telling you here, there's links for on the website. All the show notes will be there. If you'd like to get, if you'd like to help the show out and get a drawing from, me and or Tony, head head over to our Patreon page, which there's a link on the website, or you can go to patreon.com/saltylanguage, and, you know, we can work out something. So, what else am I forgetting there? Oh, if you'd like to help the show out, we'd appreciate it if you haven't reviewed, and subscribed yet. If you could do that for us.
5-star ball wash.
That's right. I'm thinking, I was like, you know, I need to come up with something like to do as like a giveaway or something to see if we can get some people to actually leave reviews. Like, what are you doing? No, we appreciate it. Anybody who's already done that. And like I said, if you could, you know, please do. Or if you could at least, you know, share the show links on Twitter, Facebook, wherever, you know, let your friends know they should, you know, listen to us and what have you. We would greatly appreciate it. And if you want to contact us, like if you'd like to suggest a Q of the W or something for us to talk about, you can email us at saltylanguage@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter at salty_language. You can find me at Stunami. How about you, Henno?
You can find me at Ida Henno.
You can find Tony, I guess, over at, what is it, Monotony on Twitter, I believe? Yeah, because it's the Monotony on Instagram.
Yes, the Monotony.
Yeah.
Monotony.
Monotony, yep. Yeah, we're on, you know, Instagram, Snapchat, all that stuff. All the links are over at the site if you need them, though. So, nice and easy for you.
Yep.
All right. I feel like I'm forgetting something. I really do. Check out the podcast that Henno and I are also on, The Crazy Life.
Yeah.
While you're checking out podcasts. I mean, you know, why not? Right?
And if you're into the Orville or Gotham, check out my podcast, Gotham Lights or Orville Lights. It changes names as needed.
That's true, it does.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So I guess with all of that stuff, have a beer, you'll be fine.
And stay sultry.
Clean, yeah.
And just so it's mentioned in this episode, the name of this episode will be dropping Turkeyneck, because Tony and I determined that a few weeks ago. So for those of you who are like, where's the name of the show? There it is.
And if you didn't listen to the end, you don't know why the fucking show's named this way.
Exactly.
Brilliant.
Yep. All right.